In a fascinating twist to the super fight speculation surrounding two of the UFC's most dominant champions, renowned coach Javier Mendez has suggested that a potential welterweight clash between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev would actually favor his fighter, despite Topuria's current status as one of combat sport's fastest rising stars. Mendez, the mastermind behind Makachev's legendary grappling system at American Kickboxing Academy, offered his tactical assessment of how a jump to 170 pounds would impact the undefeated Topuria. While acknowledging the Spanish champion's formidable power, Mendez believes the weight increase would neutralize his most dangerous attribute. Ilia Topuria moving up to welterweight to fight Islam? I think that favors us even more so, Mendez stated, because Ilia's speed won't be there when he puts on that extra weight. The power will, but the speed won't. So let's see. This analysis cuts to the heart of what makes Topuria such a devastating force at featherweight and lightweight. His explosive, fight-ending combinations that blend precision with astonishing quickness. At 170 pounds, Mendez theorizes, Topuria would sacrifice the lightning-fast reflexes that have allowed him to dismantle elite opponents like Charles Oliveira and Alexander Volkanovski. The potential champion versus champion matchup has captured the imagination of fans, since Makachev announced his move to welterweight to challenge Della Maddalena at UFC 322. While some have compared Topuria's meteoric rise to Conor McGregor's historic two-division conquest, Mendez's comments highlight the unique physical challenges El Matador would face against a naturally larger opponent like Makachev, who already employs one of the most suffocating grappling games in the sport. However, as Mendez himself acknowledged, this remains speculative until Makachev successfully navigates his upcoming title challenge. The outcome of UFC 322's main event will determine whether the Dagestani champion even holds the welterweight strap that would make this super fight possible. Furthermore, questions would inevitably arise about Topuria's ability to defend his lightweight crown while pursuing glory in a third weight class. For now, Mendez's tactical insight adds an intriguing layer to what many consider the biggest potential fight in MMA today. A clash of undefeated champions whose styles would create a classic striker versus grappler dynamic, now with the added variable of how weight class elevation might shift the balance of power between them.
In the ongoing debate surrounding the controversial conclusion to Tom Aspinall's UFC 321 title defense against Cyril Gane, the heavyweight champion has found a powerful and empathetic ally in former UFC title holder Francis Ngannou. While critics like John Jones have questioned Aspinall's resilience, Ngannou has come to his defense with a thoughtful analysis that underscores the serious nature of eye injuries in combat sports. Ngannou, speaking with TMZ Sports, acknowledged the widespread disappointment among fans, but firmly sided with Aspinall's decision not to continue after suffering multiple eye pokes. "I think that eye poke made a lot of news, more than the fight itself," Ngannou observed, highlighting how the anticlimactic ending overshadowed what was supposed to be a blockbuster heavyweight showdown. The former champion, known for his devastating power and combat sports IQ, provided a crucial distinction that separates eye injuries from other common fight ailments. "That was definitely an eye poke, and it compromised vision from Tom," Ngannou stated. "So I think the normal decision in that position is not to fight, because an eye poke is not like you get kicked in the balls and you can recover and come back. It's not like a pain. You are compromising your vision." Ngannou's perspective carries significant weight, given his extensive experience at the highest level of competition. He articulated the grave risks fighters face when continuing with compromised vision, pointing out the potential for permanent damage and the no-win situation Aspinall faced in the court of public opinion. And if you are doing a combat sport with compromised vision, it is not good at all. Then if you still can't see anything, what if your vision is permanently compromised? Then if you keep going and maybe because of that you lose the fight, the same people will be saying how stupid you were, you should have stopped, blah blah blah. The Cameroonian fighter's balanced assessment acknowledges fan frustration while firmly supporting the medical reality Aspinall faced. "I see their frustration, but there was an eye poke that did cause damage and affected vision," Ngannou concluded, offering a voice of reason in a discussion that has often been dominated by criticism and second-guessing. This endorsement from one of the most respected heavyweights of his generation provides valuable support for Aspinall as he navigates recovery and prepares for his inevitable rematch with Gane, while also contributing to the important conversation about fighter safety and the unique dangers posed by eye injuries in MMA.
With the blockbuster UFC 322 welterweight title fight between Islam Makhachev and Della Maddalena just days away, predictions are pouring in from across the MMA world, including a notable assessment from reigning middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev, who has thrown his support behind his fellow Dagestani fighter, while casting doubt on the Australian champion's ability to withstand Makachev's grappling assault. It came longer with Day Russia. "I think Islam," Chimaev declared confidently in a social media video. "Both are good fighters. Islam moving up is interesting to see how he's going to do, but I think Islam will win. He's going to use his wrestling more in this fight." Chimaev's analysis carries particular weight given his own dominant run through the welterweight division before health issues prompted his move to middleweight. His prediction highlights the central questions surrounding this championship clash. Can Makachev's legendary Sambo wrestling overwhelm Maddalena's proven takedown defense? The Australian champion demonstrated formidable anti-grappling skills in his title-winning performance against Belal Muhammad, but Makachev represents a different caliber of wrestler entirely. Where Muhammad managed just 3 takedowns across 5 rounds, analysts suggest Makachev could easily double that output, potentially overwhelming Maddalena's defensive systems through relentless chain wrestling and positional control. The stylistic matchup presents a classic striker versus grappler dynamic, with Maddalena relying on his crisp, powerful boxing at range, while Makachev will likely look to close distance, implement clinch work, and drag the fight to the canvas. Despite Makachev moving up in weight, he's insisted the welterweight cut will be easier than his brutal lightweight regimens, suggesting his speed and cardio should remain intact, a concerning prospect for Maddalena, who needs space to operate effectively. Interestingly, Maddalena himself has previously expressed interest in eventually facing Khamzat, telling the New York Post Sports, "I would like to fight Khamzat Chimaev at one point. If my career goes well, it'd be a good challenge." However, Chimaev's predictions suggest he doesn't believe JDM will get past his upcoming challenge, potentially postponing or outright canceling that intriguing future matchup. Despite Chimaev's confident prediction, several veteran analysts, including Michael Chandler and Kenny Florian, have warned of a potential upset, pointing to Maddalena's fight-ending power and technical striking precision. The Australian champion has also emphasized his desire to properly defend his welterweight title rather than immediately chasing double champ status, stating, "I would like to be a defending champion. I like to see a champion clean out a lot of the top 10 guys before moving up." As fight night approaches, the MMA community remains divided on whether Makachev's grappling supremacy will prevail, or if Maddalena's striking and takedown defense will produce another stunning victory. One thing is certain, at UFC 322, we'll learn whether Chimaev's prediction proves prophetic, or if Maddalena can author another chapter in his remarkable championship story.
The UFC's roster overhaul continues as the promotion has parted ways with 3 more fighters across multiple weight classes, continuing a trend of aggressive roster management following a record-breaking season of Dana White's Contender Series that saw over 40 new fighters offered contracts. According to reports from UFC Roster Watch, welterweight Rolando Bedoya heads the list of departures after compiling an 0-4 record inside the octagon. Dubbed The Machine, Bedoya failed to secure a single victory during his UFC tenure, ultimately leading to his release after 4 consecutive losses. He's joined by Kwang Lei, who managed just 1 win against 3 losses in his 4 UFC appearances, demonstrating the promotion's limited patience for fighters who struggle to establish momentum in their initial bouts. The most surprising cut appears to be Yanal Ajmuz, who maintained a 500 record at 2-2 in his 4 UFC outings. While Ajmuz's record suggests he might have warranted another opportunity, the decision reflects the UFC's increasingly selective approach to roster retention, particularly as they make room for fresh talent from their developmental pipeline. This latest wave of releases highlights the precarious nature of a UFC career, where even fighters with winning records aren't guaranteed job security. The moves come just weeks after the UFC surprisingly released heavyweight Hamdi Abdelwahab despite his victory at UFC 321, a decision widely attributed to the lackluster nature of his performance against Chris Barnett. Abdelwahab's departure with a 2-2 record underscores Dana White's well-documented aversion to what he perceives as boring fights, regardless of the official outcome. The roster trimming creates inevitable questions about consistency in the UFC's evaluation process. As observers noted, several fighters with longer losing streaks remain under contract, including popular heavyweight Tai Tuivasa, who currently rides a 5-fight skid but hasn't competed since UFC 305. This selective approach to roster management suggests that factors beyond mere win-loss records, including fighting style, marketability, and potential, play significant roles in determining a fighter's future with the promotion. With the UFC's partnership with Paramount set to begin in 2026 and a fresh crop of Contender Series graduates waiting in the wings, these roster adjustments signaled the promotion's preparation for a new era. As the mixed martial arts landscape continues to evolve, the UFC appears focused on maintaining a dynamic, action-packed roster, even if it means making difficult decisions about fighters who haven't quite found their footing in the world's premier MMA organization. In a compelling assessment of one of MMA's most intriguing career trajectories, legendary analyst Chael Sonnen has positioned former UFC flyweight Muhammad Mokaev as a potential case study in how to earn a second chance with the promotion through accountability and relentless activity. Sonnen's comments come after Mokaev's spectacular head-kick knockout victory over Gerard Burns at Brave CF 100, which captured the promotion's flyweight championship and demonstrated that the undefeated fighter remains an elite-level talent. Sonnen meticulously broke down Mokaev's journey from being seemingly on the outs with the UFC to positioning himself for a potential return, highlighting the fighter's mature response to professional adversity. Muhammad Mokaev is going to go down as one of the great case studies in MMA, Sonnen began. He's 14-0 and ranked number 3 in the world, and then suddenly he's pulled from the main card to an undercard during fight week. People start talking like he's done, like his contract or reputation is over. But what happened next defines character. The turning point, according to Sonnen, came through Mokaev's willingness to take ownership of his situation without making excuses. Mokaev admitted he was hard to work with, Sonnen noted. He was pleading some ignorance like, "Hey, I'm just a kid. I don't make these calls. I got a manager." But he also said, "I will fight anybody. I don't miss weight. I don't complain. I don't ask for more money. Whatever mistakes there were, he owns them." This accountability, combined with Mokaev's decision to stay active across multiple combat sports platforms, has created what Sonnen believes is the perfect blueprint for redemption. Rather than retreating from competition, Mokaev embraced every opportunity to demonstrate his skills, from dominating grappling matches to delivering highlight reel finishes in Brave CF. He never went begging. Instead, he got back in the gym twice a day, every day, competing just to be seen, Sonnen observed. The analyst particularly praised Mokaev's post-fight approach to the UFC, noting that the fighter communicated his desire to return without desperation or bitterness. After a fight, he told UFC, "I think you've made a mistake. I'm the best fighter in the world, and my dream is to be there." He came clean, was a man about it, he didn't cry or complain. That's the kind of attitude that earns respect. Sonnen believes this combination of ownership and performance will ultimately lead to Mokaev's UFC return, and when it happens, the promotion will likely fast-track him to the top of the division. There's something about fighters who leave and make it back. When they come back, it's straight to the deep end. Mokaev's playing this perfectly, and I forgive whatever happened. He's been a man about it. I think this will work out. In Sonnen's view, Mokaev's journey transcends personal redemption and could serve as inspiration for other released fighters, demonstrating that the path back to the sport's biggest stage is paved not with complaints, but with competition, accountability, and an unwavering commitment to proving one's worth where it matters most, inside the cage.
In the midst of preparing for one of the most significant challenges of her championship reign, Valentina Shevchenko has addressed the growing speculation about a potential super fight with bantamweight champion Kayla Harrison, while simultaneously revealing the one matchup that could still lure her back to the 135-pound division. The flyweight queen, who defends her title against former strawweight champion Zhang Weili in the UFC 322 co-main event on November 15th, acknowledged Harrison's recent comments about a potential showdown, but maintained her trademark focus on the immediate task at hand. Kayla is a very good fighter, very strong physically, and definitely it would be a great fight, Shevchenko told MMA Junkie. But I am not looking past my fight. You know me, I always focus on the challenge right in front of me. My challenge is UFC 322. We can come back to this question after the fight. This disciplined approach has become synonymous with Shevchenko's championship mentality, though she did open the door to future discussions once her current business is settled. The potential Harrison matchup carries particular intrigue given the Olympic judoka's dominant wrestling style against Shevchenko's diverse striking arsenal. And Harrison herself has expressed interest in the fight potentially taking place at the historic White House card in summer 2026. Perhaps more revealing was Shevchenko's admission about the one fighter who could motivate her to return to bantamweight, a division she left behind after two closely contested battles with Amanda Nunes. For a long time, she was the only reason why I would return to 135, Shevchenko revealed. It was just one name, unfinished business, what I had with Amanda. When she retired, I lost interest for that, and now let's see. The rumor is that she's unretired, but let's see if it's a reality. This acknowledgement underscores the lingering competitive fire from Shevchenko's split decision loss to Nunes in their 2017 rematch, about many observers believed could have gone either way. The possibility of a trilogy fight represents unfinished business that clearly still resonates with the champion, even as she dominates the flyweight division. First, however, Shevchenko must navigate the dangerous challenge presented by Zhang Weili, who vacated her strawweight title specifically for this opportunity to become a two-division champion. For Shevchenko, victory would not only solidify her flyweight legacy, but potentially position her for that long-awaited return to bantamweight or a champion versus champion clash with Harrison. Two legacy-defining opportunities that hinge entirely on her performance at Madison Square Garden. The path back to UFC Gold has never looked more daunting for Leon Edwards as he prepares for his crucial comeback fight against Carlos Prates at UFC 322. The former welterweight champion, who once ruled the division with his stunning head kick knockout of Kamaru Usman, now finds himself at a critical career juncture following back-to-back losses that have left analysts questioning whether he can ever reclaim his place among the elite. Edwards himself has outlined an ambitious three-step plan back to championship glory, telling reporters, "After MSG, I put on the best performance of my life. That sets me up for one more fight in March or April. Then I fight for the title in the summer. This confident roadmap, however, faces serious scrutiny from industry experts who point to both his recent performances and the evolving landscape of the welterweight division. MMA analyst Luke Thomas delivered a particularly sobering assessment on Submission Radio, bluntly stating that Edwards has not a penny chance of returning to title contention in the immediate future. While acknowledging Edwards as a good fighter, Thomas emphasized the harsh realities of championship redemption arcs in the UFC. But he's going to win 2 fights and be right back in the title picture? No, he's not, Thomas argued. He's not a big star, he's not a big draw. He got thoroughly smashed by Brady, and obviously, he got largely beaten up to the 5th round anyway by Belal. No, he's probably not going to get the wins he needs, and even if he does, the division is going to move on without him. Thomas pointed to the historical difficulty of recapturing a UFC title once lost, noting, once you get separated from a UFC title, it's very hard to get it back. For most guys who touch the title, once it gets taken away, it never comes back, and I suspect Leon's one of those guys. The stakes are equally high for Sean Brady, who faces Michael Morales on the same card. Brady, who decisively defeated Edwards in their March encounter, was positioned as a potential title contender before accepting the dangerous matchup against the undefeated Morales. Thomas highlighted the significant risk for Brady, noting that Morales represents a formidable challenge with his youth, size, and proven takedown defense. As the welterweight division undergoes a seismic shift with lightweight champion Islam Makhachev's move up to challenge Della Maddalena for the title, the landscape is becoming increasingly crowded with fresh talent. This influx of new talent, combined with Edwards' recent setbacks, creates a perfect storm that makes his path back to championship relevance more complicated than his optimistic timeline suggests. For Rocky, UFC 322 represents not just another fight, but what may be his final opportunity to prove he still belongs in the conversation with the division's best. A pivotal moment in the ongoing debate surrounding mixed martial arts' greatest of all time is rapidly approaching, as UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev prepares for a legacy-defining challenge at UFC 322. According to UFC Hall of Famer Michael Bisping, a victory over welterweight champion Della Maddalena on November 15th would fundamentally alter the GOAT conversation and cement Makachev's place among the sport's most elite company. The upcoming Madison Square Garden headliner represents more than just a bid for a second UFC title. It's a chance for Makachev to accomplish what few fighters in history have achieved: dominant championship success across multiple weight classes. While Makachev has already assembled a resume worthy of consideration at 155 pounds, Bisping believes that capturing the welterweight crown would provide the crucial differentiator in comparisons to legends like Anderson Silva, John Jones, and Georges St-Pierre. It doesn't sound right, Bisping initially reflected on the MMA Junkie radio show, carefully considering the historical context. Maybe I'm not giving him his credit there. When you look at Anderson Silva, his second fight in the UFC, he became the champ. He beat Chris Lieben, then he beat Rich Franklin to become the champion. So the majority of those 16 wins were title defenses. That's a little different. When you talk about John Jones, there's a lot of title defenses in there as well. Same with Georges St-Pierre. Bisping was quick to clarify that his analysis wasn't meant to diminish Makachev's existing accomplishments, but rather to highlight what a second championship would represent. I'm certainly not critiquing Islam Makhachev's career. I'm not nitpicking or discrediting it at all. If he gets the job done, I think without question he deserves to be in that conversation. The challenge ahead is monumental. Della Maddalena represents perhaps the most dangerous stylistic matchup Makachev has faced in years, a natural welterweight with proven takedown defense and fight-ending boxing power. The Australian champion demonstrated both attributes decisively in his title victory over Belal Muhammad, who happens to be Makachev's longtime training partner, adding another layer of intrigue to the contest.
Makachev enters this historic bout riding a 15-fight winning streak that spans an entire decade, a testament to his relentless evolution and dominance. Yet it's this specific challenge, moving up in weight to dethrone a champion in his prime, that could provide the definitive argument for his place in history. In the rarefied air of MMA's pantheon, where achievements are meticulously compared and debated, a victory at UFC 322 would give Makachev a claim that transcends divisional dominance and enters the realm of cross-era greatness.
Bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili has clarified his position on a potential super fight with featherweight king Alexander Volkanovski, expressing both deep respect for the Australian legend and professional willingness to accept the challenge should the UFC formally offer it. As he prepares for his record-breaking fourth title defense this year against Petr Yan at UFC 323, the Georgian champion finds himself in the unique position of having nearly cleared out his division twice, naturally sparking conversations about legacy-defining matchups at 145 pounds. In a conversation with Bloody Elbow during his duties as a stake ambassador, Dvalishvili carefully distinguished between actively calling for the fight and being prepared to accept it. "Look, I don't want to challenge him because I have so much respect for the great champion Alex Volkanovski," Dvalishvili explained. "I just want to focus on my weight class, and I don't want to be disrespectful by challenging or mentioning his name." This stance reflects Dvalishvili's characteristic humility, even as he dominates his own division with unprecedented activity. However, the champion made it clear that his respect wouldn't translate to refusal if the promotion sees value in the champion versus champion matchup. "If it becomes a thing where the UFC asks me to do this fight, listen, I'm a fighter, I will show up and I will fight," he stated. "Usually, UFC sends me a contract, you fight this guy, and boom, that's it. So if you ask me, I don't want to challenge him or call him out, but if they want it, then I am ready for it." Dvalishvili was careful to differentiate his position from Tom Aspinall's recent controversial comments about potentially vacating the heavyweight title to avoid fighting training partner Ante Della. Where Aspinall suggested he might relinquish his belt, Dvalishvili emphasized he would never turn down a fight the UFC presented. The conversation naturally turned to how a move to featherweight would impact Dvalishvili's legendary pace. The bantamweight champion, who could break the record for most title defenses in a single calendar year, revealed that the grueling 22-pound weight cut to 135 pounds is the primary factor limiting his activity, not the physical toll of fighting itself. "Featherweight? I could fight every 2 weeks," Dvalishvili quipped, only half joking. "I just need 1 day to make 145 pounds. The weight cut is most difficult because I cut 22 pounds every time I fight now." He elaborated on the psychological and physical burden of his current cuts, noting that at featherweight, where he'd only need to shed around 10 pounds, his already remarkable activity level could become truly historic. "This is the hardest part of the fight to get ready for mentally and physically," he admitted, expressing awe at how smaller fighters manage even more drastic cuts. As Dvalishvili continues his march through the bantamweight division, the possibility of a Volkanovski super fight looms as perhaps the most intriguing challenge remaining, a matchup that would not only test his skills, but his capacity to maintain his relentless pace against one of the most accomplished champions in UFC history. In a heart-wrenching scene that transcended the typical post-fight narrative, UFC lightweight Chris "Taco" Padilla experienced the highest of highs and the lowest of lows at UFC Vegas 111, scoring a spectacular underdog victory, only to be left in tears after being denied a life-changing $50,000 bonus. The odds were already stacked against Padilla from the start. His opponent, Ismail Bonfim, missed weight by a significant 5 pounds, leading to a 25% purse fine but allowing the bout to proceed. Despite being the underdog and facing a heavier, more powerful opponent, Padilla weathered an early storm, capitalized on Bonfim's fading gas tank, and secured a stunning second-round TKO victory, his fourth consecutive win. Immediately after the fight, an emotional Padilla made a direct plea to UFC CEO Dana White, grabbing the microphone and stating, "Dana, Mick, my mama lives in a trailer, so I need those 50 G's. Please help me help my family." His hopes were dashed when the bonus winners were announced. The $50,000 Performance of the Night awards went to Christian Leroy Duncan, Josh Hokett, and Zach Reese, with the fourth bonus surprisingly going to Gabriel Bonfim, the brother of Padilla's defeated opponent, rather than to Padilla himself. The emotional toll of this decision became painfully clear during the post-fight press conference. When asked about his mother's situation, Padilla fought back tears, saying, "I was just calling. My brother answered the phone. Unless you want to see me cry, I'ma go over just a little bit, man." He continued, his voice breaking with emotion. "That topic hurts me every time, man. I'd sacrifice anything for them, any day. So, I love those people, man. My mom's given me everything growing up, so I am gonna die out there for her. Everything that hurts on me doesn't hurt as much as seeing my mom struggle." Padilla's desperation was rooted in more than just wanting recognition for his performance. Earlier in the night, he had explained, "I need money more than anything, bro. I need money. I'll fight anybody, but I need to be able to take care of my family first. It's hard to sleep at night knowing that my people are struggling." The situation presents a difficult dilemma for UFC management. While Padilla's performance and personal circumstances certainly tug at the heartstrings, the promotion maintains its bonus structure based on what it deems the most spectacular performances of the night. However, given Dana White's history of occasionally providing financial assistance to fighters and staff in special circumstances, there remains hope that the organization might find another way to support Padilla after his courageous display both inside and outside the octagon.